was 14 years old, I scammed the entire video games industry. And because of that, I got blacklisted. Let me tell you a little story, all right? A long time ago, my dad was the founder and editor-in-chief of a men's lifestyle magazine. Now, of course, I'm not gonna name that magazine because I don't wanna dox myself. That would be stupid to do. But essentially, part of this magazine, aside from articles and whatever else was in there, was that there was reviews for entertainment products, things like movies, things like games. Now, of course, at this point, being a little child, I wasn't the person reviewing these things, but I got the benefit of it because everything that came through the magazine eventually landed in my tiny little hands, dude. And I was eating up every game. Ubisoft games, Activision games. I remember Tony Hawk coming in. I remember Rayman coming in. I remember all of these amazing games. And as a little kid, dude, it was like Christmas daily, man. And I remember every single day there was a package at the door almost of some new game from Activision. Because at that point, Activision wasn't just releasing Call of Duty, dude. They were releasing a ton of games. Ubisoft too. There was so many. I remember when Mark of Cree came in. I remember when, I mean, even before that, one of the best games that ever came through was this game right here. Pokemon Stadium 2. This is the actual copy that we got direct from Nintendo. At that point, Nintendo Canada, which I'm sure they still do, Nintendo Canada. I'm not in contact with them now, but obviously this was a long time ago. If you could see here, it says right there, not for resale. And on the back, not for resale, demo game only. This is my real copy from back then. And the reason why I have it is because we didn't give it back to Nintendo. Nintendo was known, and I think is still known, for when they give you a game to review, they want that shit back, dude. It's not yours to keep. At least back then. I haven't received a game from Nintendo to review in a long time, obviously. But back then, they were super serious about it. And my dad was like, brother, I'm not doing your bullshit like that. My kids love this game. You guys sent it to us. Too fucking bad. You want it? Come take it out of my fucking cold, dead hands, bitch. Obviously, they didn't do that. And obviously, I still have the game. But what resulted in that was that was the absolute demise of the relationship with Nintendo. We never got another game from them again. Never got a free console. Never got anything. After the release of this, that was donezo with Nintendo. Also, the unfortunate thing too is that this is the only thing that I have from that time. Everything else I've either traded into Blockbuster like an absolute idiot, or I sold, or I gave it away to friends. So I don't even have the emails. I don't have old emails. Anyway, jumping ahead of the story. At some point, the magazine shut down, free games were gone. And as a little kid, that was my main source of entertainment. Okay, I loved, obviously, who doesn't love getting free games? So I had to figure out a way to do that again. And around the release of the Xbox 360, I remember being so excited to play that console, dude. I was going to EB Games every single day just to look at the promotional stuff in the store because that's how excited I was. And before I even had the console, I was just so excited to get it and play it that I bought a copy of Dead or Alive just because I wanted to own an Xbox 360 game. I don't even like Dead or Alive, dude. I don't really even care about fighting games, but something about just having that game in my hands made it feel like so special. And it was like, this is real now, dude. I'm about to get an Xbox 360. But of course, at that time, I didn't have an Xbox 360, and being like a 14-year-old kid, I didn't have the money to get one, and my parents weren't interested in getting me one at that time, so I had to figure out how to do it on my own. So this is where things get interesting. Dead Rising releases on Xbox 360, and this game is incredible. Just by looking at it, incredible. You know, it was something that's never been done before. The amount of zombies on screen at once, this crazy Frank West going into this mall and beating up everybody like it's Dawn of the Dead, awesome. I wanted to play it so badly. I believe at this point I did have an Xbox 360, I just didn't have a lot of games. But I wanted this one, man. I wanted it real bad, and I didn't have the money to get it. So I went on GameSpot, which at the time was my favorite video game website. I loved watching On the Spot with Rich Gallup and Jeff Gersman and Ryan Davis. Loved it. Anyway, on GameSpot, there was a reviewer named Alex Navarro, who a lot of people probably know. I don't remember it being Alex Navarro at the time, to be honest. I'm pretty sure it was a British guy. When I'm going on GameSpot right now and I'm looking at the review, it says the review for Dead Rising in 2006, August 7, 2006, is written by Alex Navarro. That's not who I remember writing. I remember that this review was written by a British guy. I emailed that guy saying, hello, I'm a new reviewer for a new magazine. This is my name, which at the time was a fake name, and the magazine was a fake magazine, and the email was a fake email. And I said, hi, I'm a new reviewer. I'm just starting up in this. I've been assigned to review games. Where did you get this game? How do I get in contact with people to get this game so that I can do my job properly? And the guy was kind enough to set me up with Games Press. There's a website called GamesPress where if you are a game reviewer or content creator, you're able to get an account on GamesPress, and you're basically able to get access to all sorts of PR people's emails and developers' emails, things like that. If you want to get free games, not free games, like review copies and things like that. They're very serious about their process for letting people in, but at this point, maybe they were more lax, or maybe I just did a good job at convincing them. So anyway, I got access to GamesPress, and what I did was email literally every single PR company, every single games company, every single anything company. If you were listed on GamePress, you got an email from me. And what I basically said was the exact same thing. Hi, I'm a reviewer for this magazine. This magazine has an average readership of like 50,000 people per month or something like that. I can't remember what I said, maybe even 100,000. I said something crazy. And I'm reaching out to form a relationship and, add me to your mailing list, please. That was basically the start of me getting literally everything, dude. I got Dead Rising, which I desperately wanted. And from that point on, it was like, whatever game I wanted, I had a contact that I was able to get access to that game instantly, dude. Stranglehold, I remember getting, and I have had a blast with it. And then what I would do is I would take the copy and I would either sell it to my friends at school for like 30 or 40 bucks, or I would trade it in a Blockbuster, because there was a Blockbuster down the street from me and I loved going there, and I was friends with the people there because I was there all the time. And I just constantly was trading in games. I formed a great relationship with the people at Xbox. I remember getting Halo 3 for free. I remember getting actually like a dozen copies of Halo 3 for free, the Legendary Edition, because I just was like, hey man, I really want to do a contest giveaway through my magazine. Can I get a stack of copies so I can give them away? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. And the next day at my door, a thing like this came full of copies of Halo 3, which I think I have the steelbook somewhere. I probably have it somewhere, but I just sold a bunch of them to friends at school, and then I traded a bunch in. And I even remember I used to go to EB Games and trade games a lot, and I would bring multiple copies of the game, and they used to get so mad, the manager at one of the locations, because they're like, we can't accept 2 copies. Where the hell did you get this? Why do you have 2 copies? And also, why are you trading in a game the day that it came out? What's going on here? And I used to even go in with them wrapped, and they'd be like, we can't accept that. You have to unseal it and then trade it to us. It's like, what the And sometimes I would just sell it to the actual workers at the store. And sometimes they would tell me we can't accept more than 1 copy. So just stand in the store and you can sell it to somebody who comes in, and we'll let you do that. And I was getting everything, dude. I remember that there was an Xbox event called X06, which was, I believe, the first Xbox event held in Toronto. And I was invited to go to that. And of course, being a little kid, I had to pass it off as something else. And then I was becoming friends with one of the contacts at 2K who was giving me like WWE and things like that, I believe at the time. And he was like, hey man, am I going to see you there? Because we're actually going to be there. And I was like, yeah, I'll be there, man. And then at the last minute, I had to be like, oh shit, something came up. I can't go, whatever. So I just introduced myself to him as a little kid, being like, hey, he told me you could come or something, but I can't remember what I said. And at X06, I remember I emailed Cliffy B to ask him if he was going to be there, because at that point, Gears of War was going to be showcased, and I was so excited to get my hands on Gears of War. And I emailed Cliffy B, and Cliffy B was like, no, sorry, I'm not going to be there, but like Mark Waynes or something like that, which was, I believe, like the CEO or founder of Epic was going to be there. And I was like, cool. But at that point, I didn't care. I just cared about Cliffy B because Cliffy B was cool, and he, like, Jazz Jackrabbit, Unreal, Gears of War looked insane. It was like, dude, I gotta meet Cliffy B. I remember getting a free copy of Blue Dragon. They were handing that out in like a little gift bag. Maybe that was at X07, actually. There was, some of these, it was so long ago, dude, and I was a little kid, you don't remember all the details. I do remember then, because of that guy who I was becoming friends with at 2K, he was asking me like, are you on the list for a PS3? And I was like, no, dude, the Sony person that sends stuff, or that I'm in contact with hasn't said a peep. I don't know how to do this. I don't know. Everybody I've reached out to, nobody responds about that stuff. And he said, don't worry. Then randomly, I got an email that was like a bunch of characters, like X1725711 at Q17, blah, 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 like all this weird shit. And they're like, do you want to be on the list for the PS3? First, I thought it was a scam, because I was like, this is the weirdest shit ever. Like, this is so secret, hidden, weird. And I said, yeah, sure. So I sent my details, and I never got a response. Didn't hear anything. And then months later, I got a box that was gargantuan, dude, like this huge box. And inside was a PS3, the launch PS3. I believe like a remote for like a TV remote kind of thing for movies. NBA, an extra controller, Resistance, another game. I don't remember. No, Heavenly Sword came out later. There was probably another game, and I think there was something else too. And it was like, what the fuck, dude? And that was like maybe 2 weeks before it actually came out. I think something like that. And that was awesome, dude. Playing Resistance and just being blown away by like the power of the PS3 and like, holy moly. And it was like a huge console. I remember how big it was. And it was like, dude, this is insane. Then I got a little bit more friendly with the people at PlayStation, and I got invited to an event downtown Toronto to go check out Lair, the dragon game. And I was going back and forth with the guy a whole bunch because I was like, dude, can you just give me a copy? And he was like, you got to come to this event and whatever. He was like kind of rude about it, but like whatever. He probably deals with a lot of, annoying people. And also, I guess I was maybe being a little bit annoying because I wasn't just saying like, okay, no problem to whatever he was saying. Then the issue is that very day I had an exam at school. Because I'm a little kid. I was in high school, man. I was like in grade 10 or whatever at this point. And I was like, shit, my exam is at 2. And this event starts at like whatever. I can't remember. But something about it like overlapped. And in my mind, I thought, okay, even if I finish my exam and then leave and then go all the way downtown, whatever like that, first of all, they're going to see that I'm a little kid, that I'm like 15 at this point. It would have just blown my cover, essentially. Because I'm sure the guy thought he was dealing with an adult. I passed myself off as an adult. I didn't tell anybody I was a little 14-year-old. So at the very last minute or later in the day or something like that, I emailed him like when I got home or something. This was not iPhone time, or maybe it was the beginning of the iPhone time, actually. I think the first iPhone was out. I just didn't have it. So I emailed him later basically being like, sorry, man, I couldn't make it. The guy was so fucking pissed. Like, I've never experienced somebody be so mad about like, you couldn't come to this event. Also, how many people are showing up to this event? Probably 100 people or something, maybe even more. And one person can't come. The guy lost it on me, dude. Never responded to any requests, never sent any more games from PlayStation, never heard a single thing from PlayStation ever again because of that. Because I didn't go play Lair, which the game also fucking sucked. Dude, Lair is not a good game and everybody knows it. And I didn't come to your event and oh well, dude. So this continued. I was able to just keep getting whatever I wanted, dude. I remember the Xbox PR people emailing me one time saying that they're all gonna get together with a few other reviewers and they're gonna have like a Gears of War night right around the time the game came out. Maybe even just before the game came out. And I emailed them being like, oh, I didn't get my copy. And they said, oh, that's so weird. We'll send somebody literally right now. And they sent a courier to my house that second, dude, and hand delivered me a copy of Gears of War so that I could play with these people in their like nighttime match, whatever it was. I can't remember, but I didn't go on mic. They were trying to talk to me like, oh, hey, he's here. And they were trying to talk to me and ask me questions about what I thought about the game. And I just didn't turn my headset on because I was so scared that they would hear my little kid voice and then be like, why the fuck is there a little kid playing with us, dude? We're all a bunch of adults here playing Gears of War. Almost blew my cover. But part of that headset, I would ask them for headsets, I would ask them for controllers, I would ask them for constant codes for Xbox Live and give it to everybody at school. Hey, you need an Xbox Live Gold code for a year? Boom, here you go. Hey, you need this? Boom, here you go. Hey, you need this? Boom, here you go. Give me money, dude. And then I would just trade things to EB Games and I was getting away with everything, dude. Everybody was giving me stuff. I was getting giant beanbag chairs were getting sent to me. Slipknot released some like Halloween masks that were really cool. They sent those to me. Everybody, I'm telling you straight up, everybody was sending me stuff off of this promise of like, yeah, I'm getting a ton of viewership in the magazine. Then at some point, things started to change and people started to say, hey man, can you send a copy of the magazine to us? Can we start seeing what it looks like in the magazine? Can we see the article? Can we see the review? Can we see what you're including? No, you can't actually. You can't because it doesn't exist. There's nothing going in. There's nothing going on. I'm not doing a damn thing, dude. I'm taking your stuff for free and I'm running away into the freaking night. So people started to slowly stop sending things and people started to ask a lot more questions. And I had to just fade away, man. Stopped getting responses. Stopped getting things sent, started just getting a lot of pushback. Can we see some evidence of this? Sorry. So then the name that I was using, of course, got blacklisted. No responses from anybody ever. And I had to fade away. It was awesome. While it worked, it was awesome. Now I'm actually working for it. I'm putting a lot of effort into YouTube. I'm really trying to make this work. And it's hard to get copies now. They don't just give them away as freely as they used to. Some people do, but a lot of people do not. You can't get the same amount of stuff that you used to be able to get, dude. I'm telling you straight up, you used to be able to get literally anything you wanted whenever you wanted. It was so easy, man. Crackdown, give me that game. Halo, give me that game. Everything. And it was awesome. Everything except Nintendo. Nintendo was always the hardest. If you wanted anything from PlayStation, it was a little bit annoying, but it was okay. Xbox, the nicest people, so easy to get anything. Ubisoft will give you anything, and they were so nice. Activision, so nice. All the big publishers, essentially, super, super, super nice. Nintendo was like, if we're giving you this, you have a week to play it and you're giving it fucking back. I can't remember what it was. Maybe something for the Wii where I wanted something and they were like, yeah, sure. You have this amount of time and you send it back. And I was like, dude, come on. Not do it. And then I just didn't do it because I remembered also the situation with this. Anyway, don't scam people. It's not cool, but it was fun while it lasted.